ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरे प्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णा चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थेषुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहैतुकी। आप सभी का
Welcome all of you
श्रीमद् भगवद-गीता के ज्ञान
to this Gyan Yajna of Srimad Bhagavad-Gita.
भूमिका बनाई भगवद-गीता पढ़ने के लिए।
In the previous two sessions, I discussed the background, the introduction to Bhagavad-Gita. We discussed about Mangalacharan or auspicious invocations, for primary subject matters before starting a book. We discussed on Shabda or word and its artha or meaning. What is Shastra or scripture? What are the different types of scriptures? So, the previous session at the end, we discussed what is Shastra. Shastra teaches that knowledge which we cannot derive from any other medium. This is what we should remember, because many times what happens is that today's modern science says
वास्तव में उन दोनों के विषय अलग अलग हैं।
So actually, modern science and Shastra, they have different subject matter. Even if their subject matter is same, like in our Puranas, there is description of the process of creation, but the way of presentation in modern science and in Shastra is different. Shastra follows a different system. The language of modern science is different. In the earlier ages, the system of teaching was different. So Shastras, they teach in three different ways. Because our life depends on our karma or our actions. According to the karma or actions we perform, we get the result. So the karma or actions we perform is called pravritti, and not doing is called nivritti. So if we perform the right action, we get the right result. If we perform the wrong action, we get the wrong result. So Shastra teaches us for what type of action we get what type of result. This knowledge cannot be derived from any other source. This knowledge of karma, the science of karma, is extremely intricate. It's very complicated. For some karma, we get result immediately. But for some actions like sowing a seed, we don't get the result of the tree immediately. It may take many years. So there are some actions for which we may not get result even in this lifetime. We may get result in future lifetimes. So then we fall into delusion. We start wondering science is saying something and Shastra is saying something else. Compared to science, the vision of Shastra is very wide. Science discusses on very limited subject matter, and science talks only of this particular life. Modern science does not discuss what happens after life. After this present life, what happens is not discussed. But Shastra discusses what is life, what is death, what is creation, why it is created, what is its objective, what is the goal of our life. These are such secrets which can be known only through Shastra. Now, if we do not have faith in Shastra, that is a different point. But just by our not believing, the knowledge of Shastra will not change. Just like I had discussed in the previous session also, if you do not believe in the law of gravity, it does not mean that gravity does not exist or gravity will not act on us. What is truth only. And you cannot change the truth. In Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says,
तो जो सत है उसका कभी अभाव नहीं होता है और जो असत है उसका कभी
So in Gita, Bhagavan discusses that there is never an abhav of sat and never a bhav of asat. So if we talk about the horns of rabbit, the rabbit will never have horn. Science may develop something, but according to the natural process, neither human being has horns nor rabbit has horns. And truth cannot be changed. Reality can be known, it can be understood. Science also teaches us according to cause and effect only. It conducts an analysis and it explains what is happening. It cannot change what is happening. So science discovers. Discovery means the object was or the law was already existing. Newton did not frame the law of gravity, he discovered the law of gravity. Nobody can change it. Similarly, the knowledge that we receive from Shastra, the laws that Shastra teaches, those laws cannot be changed. We can learn them and we can apply them in our life and get benefited. And for our benefit only, Shastra teaches us or gives us instruction. So Shastra teaches in three different ways. This is important to understand.
गीता तो पढ़ा नहीं रहा हूँ, ये क्या बोलना
So some people are telling that he is not teaching Gita, he is discussing something else.
देखने में साधारण है, इसमें बहुत
So I had told earlier only that Gita is a very deep science. There are a lot of pearls inside Gita. So in order to understand Gita, first we have to understand the system of how Shastra teaches. And we have lot of wrong understandings about Shastra. If we maintain the wrong understanding, we will not get benefited. In our country, there are so many scriptures, and if we do not take benefit of that, it is our loss. So in order to learn Shastra, we need some patience. Shastra teaches according to three ways. Firstly, it teaches according to like a king. Like a king gives an instruction. When king gives an order, he cannot be questioned why he is ordering like this. Like nowadays, people have a tendency, they question everything. Why should we do like this? Why should we do that? So to some extent, questioning is good, but there are some things for which there are some things which cannot be questioned. So like science discusses about Big Bang. Now, if somebody asks why Big Bang happened, science cannot explain that. What was there before Big Bang? Science does not explain that. Does that mean science is wrong? No. So there are some things for which we don't have answers and they cannot be discovered. Science does not have any method by which it can discover the background or the history behind Big Bang. So similarly, king discusses some laws. Like nowadays we have parliament. Parliament frames the laws. Now we may ask why parliament did like that. No, we cannot question it. We have to follow the law framed by parliament. If we follow it, it is good, and if we do not follow it, we have to go to jail, or at least we have to pay fine. Second way of teaching is like a friend. Like a friend teaches us nicely that should do like this, we should not do like that. And the third is according to a lover. So if there is a lover or a wife, she won't tell anything directly that I want to buy a sari. So the wife will go with the husband to the market, and she may not tell directly that I want to buy this sari. So she may pick up the sari from the shop and ask the husband, please give your feedback. How is it appearing on me? So she is not telling directly that I want to buy this. She is just asking the husband, how do I look in this sari? So the actually objective of asking is not to know whether it is looking good or no, but actually she wants to buy that. So this is parokshavad. This is the indirect way of teaching. So Shastra also teaches like this. All teachings are not given directly in Shastra. There are many things spoken of in a roundabout manner. So we have to understand Shastra's way of teaching. So the intelligent person, an intelligent husband will understand what the wife wants. And if he doesn't understand when the wife will go home, then there will be fight. Now the wife may become upset. He may say that I wanted to purchase the sari, but you did not give it to me. So that's why we have to understand Shastra's system of teaching. So this is verse from Hari Leelamrita, Vedah Puranam Kavyam Cha Prabhur Mitram Priyevacha. Shastra teaches like a Prabhu, the king, the Mitra, the friend, and the Priya, the lover. Shastra has three types of statements. This also we should understand nicely. There are Vidhi Vakyas, there are Nishedha statements, and there are Arthavad statements. The Vidhi statements, watch what they speak, like speak the truth, follow the dharma. Nishedh statements are like do not act violently. And there are some Arthavad statements which are statements of glorification. They neither have any instruction nor any prohibition, but they simply glorify. It's like today, like we have advertisements. In Shastra, it is called Arthavad. So there somebody is simply glorified. So this we will find a lot in Puranas. that if anybody who studies this Shastra or this Puran daily, he will not have any lack of wealth, he will always be victorious, his diseases will go away. So these are statements of glorification, Arthavad.
वो प्रशंसा कर रहे हैं ताकि आपको
Now,
उसमें रुचि
those
हो जाए।
statements of glorification are not giving a direct instruction that you should study this Shastra daily, but they are simply glorifying so that we become inspired to study. Like while eating, somebody may glorify a particular item of food a lot, and then by hearing that glorification, we also feel like eating. Like nowadays, there are advertisements, buy one get one free. So actually, nobody wants to give us anything for free. From where can somebody give us something for free? The person has opened his shop not to give us something for free. But this is simply to entice us or to inspire us to purchase the product. So actually, the cost of the free product is already included in the product for which is being charged. So this is called Arthavad or glorification. So one who is hungry, he will not ask what is cooked. He will say that whatever is cooked, bring it. One who is dying out of hunger, he will never ask what has been cooked today. Whatever is cooked, he is ready for that. And one who is not hungry, he will ask 50 questions. What is cooked today? What will be cooked in the evening? Why it is not like this? This is missing or that is missing. So when we have need for any object, we directly go and purchase it. But we don't have any need. Like people go around for shopping just like entertainment. They don't actually want to buy, but they get enticed by the shopkeepers. The shopkeepers have different types of displays so that customers get attracted. So that is why nowadays when you go to any mall, so like people say we have lot of sense control. So the test of your sense control is go to a mall and come back without purchasing anything. Spend some 2 to 4 hours in the mall and come back without purchasing anything. If you can do that, that means you have lot of sense control. Because it is not possible that you go and do not buy anything. Something or other you will buy. You will get enticed by the shopkeepers. So similarly in Shastra, people do not have taste or interest in following dharma. So Shastra gives them something nice to eat. We are giving something for free. Just do like this, you will go to heaven, or do like that. So this is the inspiring taste or generating taste. So like somebody who is not having appetite for eating, then he is told to eat some particular item so that he gets hunger. So Shastra actually wants that we should follow these statements and we should apply them in our life. So in another way they are described, there are bhayanak statements which are fear, they inspire fear that if you do this, you will go to hell. Like there is description of hell in the Purana. There is some hell where you will be fried and you won't die also. And there are some forest where the leaves of trees are like swords and you have to walk through them. There are birds who will pluck out your eyes. Like this, there is their description of Raurava hell. People are crying. So these are bhayanak statements, fearful statements. Like for children, we apply carrot and stick technique. If you do this, you get carrot. If you do not do this, then you get the stick. Because human being who doesn't apply his intelligence, who lives like an animal, so how can an animal be controlled? An animal, how can he be trained? Like the people in circus, how do they train animals? They give something to the animal. If the animal does that, they give him something to eat. Otherwise, he is beaten with a hunter. So this is the old system. This is nothing new. So there are some bhayanak statements in Shastra. Then second, we have rochak statements. Rochak is arthavad statements. And then there are yathartha statements. So there is nothing like, so in bhayanak and rochak statements, there can be some exaggeration because that is called arthavad. So hearing that, people raise lot of suspicion and doubts about Shastra. How is it possible or that possible? No, first we have to understand the system of Shastra. So like for children, we say that please drink milk or eat this, otherwise, you may become fat or diseased. Now, that will happen or not, that is actually not the main purport. The main point is to generate the interest. Then there are yathartha statements or as it is statements. So this is very important. Those who have not understood the deep purport of Shastra, they just get implicated in all these Arthavad statements, or somebody is speaking like this, and people are making allegations on our Shastras, and then we do not understand our Shastras. We get bewildered. We start thinking, yeah, they are actually telling correct. That Shastra is telling this or that. So we have to remember that there are these yathartha or as it is statements also. And generally we don't hear this. Vedeshvata Puraneshu Tantrepi Shruti Sammate Bhayanakam Rochakam Hi Yatharthamiti Bhedatah. So whether it is Veda or Puran or Tantra or any other Shastra which is according to Shruti, in those Shastra we find these type of statements. If you study any stotra, then you at the end you will find glorification or the fruit. What happens if you study that particular stotra? So the language of Shastra is understood in three other ways. First is called Samadhi Bhasha, second is Laukiki Bhasha, and third is called Parakiya Bhasha. Samadhi Bhasha Prathama Laukiki iti Tathapara Tritiya Parakiyeti Shastra Bhasha Tridha Smrita. What is Samadhi Bhasha? It is extremely difficult to understand. Samadhi Bhasha is that Bhasha which the sages have realized in the state of Samadhi, and they have explained it as it is. So it is difficult to understand because the experience they have got in their Samadhi state, and it is different from our day-to-day experience. So the experience that sages have, when we hear that, we don't find it logical. We don't find fitting it according to our logic. But it is as it is. Everything will not fit in our logic. Today, science thinks like they have wave and particle theory in quantum mechanics. So they discuss wave is a particle, light is wave or particle. So this cannot be explained. So both have different characteristics. They have different properties. So wave does not have weight, but particle has got weight. Particle is limited to one place, but wave is flowing. So their properties are completely different from each other. But the same light, it appears in two ways. Sometimes it appears as wave, sometimes as a particle. So this is completely different from logic, because logic says what is wave cannot be particle, what is particle cannot be wave. But how is it possible here that we have both the properties in light? So Samadhi Bhasha is something like that. Like I have given example here, na sadasit, na asadasit. So this is a very important statement of Upanishad. That what is not Sat, it has to be Asat. And what is not Asat, then it should be Sat. Now this statement is telling it is neither Sat nor Asat. Now to understand this, we have to give explanations. So the realized sages, they give explanations. So when we come across these statements, we should not think that some foolish people are making some statements. They don't mean anything. But because this is actually Samadhi Bhasha, we will get it in Upanishad, Puran. We find Samadhi Bhasha in many places in Bhagavatam also. So sometimes these statements, they bewilder our mind and our faith gets shaken at what is happening. Then second is Laukiki Bhasha. Laukiki Bhasha is the general language that we use. Here the statements are explained in simple language. like Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya.
तयोरेको पिप्लम स्वादुवत्ति अन्यननश्नन विचाकशेति। तो ये भी ऋग्वेद में आया।
So this statement is in Rigved. It shows that in our body there is Atma as well as Paramatma. Like in a tree, there are two birds who are sitting. So we can understand this. This is not so difficult to understand. Then the third is Parakiya Bhasha. Parakiya language. Here there are some analogies, some stories. Now, but the story's meaning is actually not in the story. Its purport is to explain some philosophy, some conclusions, or some siddhantas. Like in Bhagavad, we have the story of King Puranjana. So it is said that there was a big city, there were 11 gates, and there was a king. So that is actually the explanation of our body. The city is explained, the body is explained as a city. So the 9 gates of body. That has been explained in that story. So this is known as Parakiya Bhasha. So we have to understand this also, because Shastra will not tell us that this particular verse is Samadhi Bhasha, or which verse is Laukiki Bhasha, or which one is Parakiya Bhasha. That we have to understand through Parampara. In this way, Shastra is understood. So what does Shastra contain? It has the Shabdas or words. So the Shabda or the word has 3 types of meaning. So this is a very detailed subject, but I am trying to explain in brief. First is the word has a primary meaning called Mukhya Artha. Like whatever we say, that is its meaning. Like if I say this is a book, so it has a direct meaning. This is a book. It's a book. You remember I had explained word and its meaning. So book is the word and the object book is its meaning. So this is primary meaning or Mukhya Artha. Second is Lakshanik Artha. So Lakshanik meaning is little different from the primary meaning. Like if I tell the book is kept on the table, so where is the book kept? That book is on the table. So you understand that there is a table, on that there is a book. Now if I tell that Prem Mandir is on Chatikara Road, so this is how we speak, but we don't pay attention. But if you pay attention, that the book word that we used on, that the book is on the table, does the word on carry the same meaning in the second statement that Prem Mandir is on the Chatikara Road? No, on does not mean that there. Here on means one object is on another object. So when we say Prem Mandir is on Chatikara Road, so is the temple actually on the road? No, it is not on the road. If it is on the road, then what will happen to the road? How will it remain a road? The traffic will get stopped. But we all generally speak like this. So here the word on or upon, we have to remove the primary meaning and we have to take the Lakshanik meaning. So what we mean is that the temple is actually on the side of the Chatikara Road. It is not actually on the road. But then why do we not speak like this, that the temple is beside the Chatikara Road? We could have spoken like that. So because we want to say that it is exactly just touching the road and beside the road. Now if we simply say near the road, then it may be, then there is no fixed distance. So there will be no clear meaning in that. That is why we speak that the temple is on the road. So this is Lakshanik meaning. And here I am not just talking about Shastra, even in our daily life, we speak like this. So there also, many times we have misunderstanding among each other because we do not understand the correct meaning. Like if I say that you broke my heart, so does that mean that the person has actually broken the organ heart like any other object is broken? If somebody says that some sweets are kept in front of you, there is barfi, and if I tell you that please break it and give me half, so you understand what is the meaning of breaking. Now if I say that you broke my heart, does breaking have the same meaning here like it had in the breaking of the sweet? So when we say breaking my heart, there the primary meaning has to be removed and we have to take the Lakshanik meaning. So Shastra always does not give primary meaning. Like in our day-to-day communication also, we don't use primary meaning always. So if I tell that seeing you, my heart has become like a garden. So has heart actually transformed into a garden? No. Then the third meaning is called Vyangya Artha. So in Lakshanik Artha, we have some connection, but in Vyangya also means like speaking sarcastically or making joke. Here, Vyangya does not mean that. Here, Vyangya meaning means that such a meaning comes out of the word which actually cannot be understood by seeing the word, but the wise people, they understand the situation and according to that situation they can take out the meaning. So Vyangyas are of many types. Because of Vyangya, a statement can have multiple meanings. Different people can take out different meanings of the same statement. So in Upanishads there is story like that humans, demigods and demons, they went to Bhagwan. So Bhagwan said dan dan dan. Somebody said giving charity, somebody said we should do mercy, somebody said dan means charity. So according to one's situation, the meaning is derived. So imagine it is the time of evening and you are sitting and somebody says that the sun is going to set. So if you are a pujari, then the meaning that you will take, I should go for puja. If you go to work, then the meaning that you will take is that today's work is over, I should go home. If somebody is a thief, so the thief may think that, yeah, now it is my time because the sun is going to set, now I should start my work. Now in the statement, there is no such meaning. It simply says the sun is going to set. It doesn't say that the pujari should go to worship. The wife may not think that I should go for cooking, or somebody in the Goshala will not think that I have to give food to the cow. That is not directly in the statement, but the meaning is derived according to the situation. But the meaning is not there anywhere in the statement. So that is simply indicative. This is indicatory meaning. So the kavya, or what we popularly call poetry, kavyas mainly have these type of meaning. In Sanskrit, what we have kavya, the poetry, they have all the three types of meaning given here. But the greatest kavya is that which has maximum vyangya meaning. The kavya which has only primary meaning, that is considered useless. What type of kavya is this? So this is very important to understand that when we study Shastra, we have to see that the speaker, why is he making this statement, and through this statement, what does the speaker want to convey to me? Whether he wants to indicate convey the mukhya or the primary meaning, or the lakshanik meaning, or the vyangya or the indicatory meaning. So in our Shastras, have all these kind of statements, and those who do not understand this system, they get bewildered.
समाप्त करना चाहता हूँ मैं अपने शास्त्र के बारे में.
So regarding Shastra, I want to complete this topic. Now we come to our main topic. Till now I just laid out the background. Now we come to Bhagavad Gita. So now the first question that will be raised is, especially by today's youth, that why should I study Gita? Why not study newspaper? This Gita is simply an old book. What is the use of studying that? So this is important to understand, that why we should study Gita. Because prayojanam vina mandopi na pravartate, that a person of low intelligence, even he does not want to perform an action by which he will not accomplish anything. Even if he is doing something, he will definitely have some objective behind that. So this Gita, through Gita, what goal will I accomplish? So obviously, naturally, this question will arise in our mind. So it is very important to understand this point. So first point is that every person has some desires. There is no person in this world which will not have any desire. And if he or she has desire, then he will have to do something. In order to fulfill desire, an action has to be performed, and a desire can be fulfilled in multiple ways. So for the fulfillment of desire, we have to take decisions in our life. So decision making is an extremely important subject in our life, because our life depends on our decisions. If we take a wrong decision, then we will reach somewhere else only. So just like if we have to go to Delhi, if we have a destination, there are various paths of going to Delhi. Now if we if we go on the wrong path, we will reach somewhere else only. Instead of Delhi, we may reach Agra. And if we reach Agra, we will realize we were not supposed to come here. So lot of our time and our energy will get wasted. So that is why, in order to take this decision, decision making is an extremely important art in our life. And wise people are those who take right decisions in the right time. The successful people are those who take right decisions in the right time. Those who do not take right decisions at right time, they become failures. So decisions are taken by our intelligence, and our intelligence is such a machine which we get naturally from our birth. But in order to take decisions through our intelligence, we need knowledge. Whatever decisions we take them through our prior experience, or what we have learned by hearing or by seeing. Even though we may not have experience in that, still we take decisions based on the prior knowledge. So the main component in decision making is our knowledge, and our decisions are influenced by our samskaras and our latent desires, the impressions in our heart. But if we don't have any knowledge, regarding going to Delhi, then we won't understand how we should go. So for right decision, we need the right knowledge. That's why we have to obtain knowledge. So from Gita we get that knowledge.
तो किस प्रकार की समस्याएं
So
हमारे
what type
जीवन में
of
आती
decisions
हैं,
what type of
इसका
difficulties
वर्णन
we
यहाँ
face in
मिलेगा।
our life,
ये
we
गीता
will
का
find
मतलब ऐसा
description
नहीं है
of
कि
that in
5000
Gita.
साल पहले भगवान
Gita
ने
is
कह
not
दिया
something that
तो
Bhagavan
ये
spoke
गीता
5000
हमारे
years
जीवन में
ago.
अभी भी चल रही है।
It's not like that. Gita is actually going on in our life now only. Gita is a living book.
हर एक व्यक्ति का जीवन
In every person's life there is Gita,
क्योंकि हर एक व्यक्ति को अपने जीवन में
because every person has to fight a war in his life.
आपको अपनी इच्छा पूरी
If
करनी
we
है
want to fulfill our desire, then we have to fight the battle in our life. There is no such highway that we just go straight into that. There will be no obstruction.
धरना देके नहीं बैठा मिलेगा आपको, कोई पत्थर नहीं फेंकेगा आपको,
Nobody will cause trouble to us. It's not like that.
कार खराब नहीं
There will be lot of difficulties.
होगी, आपको भूख नहीं लगेगी रास्ते में,
There is no such road, no highway where we don't face any trouble.
सही आती है
So we face different types of troubles like Adhyatmika or Adi Bhautik, or the troubles created by other people. People living nearby, they also create troubles. They may become envious of us. Even our family members,
अगर थोड़ी सफलता करेंगे तो वही
even our family members will create trouble in our life if we start becoming successful. This is the major problem in every human being envious of others.
अवरोध आते हैं हमारी प्रकृति
The third disturbance that we face is through the natural calamities, like we had flood. Now that flood has gone away. Now we have influenza, then we have mosquitoes, so many problems.
ठीक है ना, तो ये
So these are natural calamities. So we have primarily three types of disturbances in our life. From our own body, from the people living nearby or the different living entities, insects, animals, etc. and natural calamities, material nature creating trouble. So we have to deal with all the three. And how to deal with all these three, that is what we have to learn from Bhagavad-Gita. So Bhagavad-Gita is also something like a Parakiya Bhasha. So there are analogies how to deal with problems of our life. So we have primarily two desires, although we have many desires, but if we analyze them, then at the end, finally we will end up with only two desires. That's why it is very important to understand Gita. So in Bhagavad-Gita, Bhagavan says that there is we want happiness and want to avoid misery. Mainly we have these desires, nothing else. Whatever work we do, either we are doing it to attain happiness or we are doing it to get rid of misery. So human being walks on these two only. Like a train runs on two tracks. Similarly, these are the two tracks on which our train is moving on. Either we want to attain happiness or we want to avoid misery. So Gita teaches us how to deal with both. Because every person remains implicated in these two. He wants to attain happiness, which he does not get, and he wants to avoid misery, and he remains implicated in misery. Every person works for getting happiness. He may get little happiness sometimes, but after that again there is misery. So why is there misery? Why don't we get happiness? This is what Gita teaches us. How to attain that state wherein we always remain in happiness and never become miserable. So that this is what Gita teaches. So who will be that person who would not like to study Gita? Who can say that I do not want to be happy? Who will say that I want misery? So if you are ready to attain permanent happiness and avoid misery, you have to learn Gita. This is what Gita is teaching. So Gita says Sukham Akshayam Ashnute. That means such type of happiness which is Akshaya, which will never deteriorate, which will never get destroyed, which will never go down. We can attain that type of happiness through Gita. This is why we should study Gita. Not because I am a Hindu, that is why I should study Gita. Whether you are a Hindu or whatever, you are a human being. When Bhagavan spoke Gita, that time there was no Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh, or etc. That time there were only human beings. Everywhere was Sanatan, because everything is because every Jiva is Sanatan. So if we have the wrong knowledge, so this is a scientific process or a flow that we see here. First step is if we have a wrong knowledge, then second step we will have wrong desire, then third step we will make wrong decision. If we have wrong decision, then fourth step we will perform the wrong action. If we perform the wrong action, next step we will have the wrong result, and finally we will have misery. So this is why we face misery, although we do not want it. Why we face misery? Because to begin with, we do not have knowledge, and we take decision in ignorance, and we may think that we are taking the correct decision. So a young person may think that if I marry him or her, I will become happy. And then after that, what happens, we know. That's why most of the Hindi cinemas, the movies that we see, after marriage, the movie ends. Because after that, the story which will happen, that is reality, which they do not want to show. Who will come to watch that? So all the imagination is just before the marriage. All the instruments and all, they are played during marriage, and then people go away from the cinema hall because they know that now what is the real story will begin. What is there to watch? That is happening in my family also. So this process, this flow happens in everybody's life, and the primary reason for that is wrong knowledge. As long as we do not obtain the correct knowledge,
गलत की जगह यहाँ ठीक समझ लीजिए आप। तो ठीक ज्ञान, ठीक इच्छा, ठीक निर्णय, ठीक कार्य, ठीक परिणाम और सुख, ये दूसरा फार्मूला है।
So the second formula will be, if we have the correct knowledge, then we will have the correct desire, then we will take correct decision, then we will take correct action, then we get the correct result, and then we become happy.
ढोकला के बारे में सुना नहीं, तो आप क्या ढोकला की इच्छा कर सकते हैं कि यार आज तो ढोकला खाना चाहिए? नहीं कर सकते ना। लेकिन जिसने खाया है और वो बाजार में जा रहा है, थोड़ी सुगंध आ गई, अरे ढोकला की सुगंध आ रही है, तो मुंह में पानी आ जाएगा। तो इसलिए ज्ञान के अनुसार इच्छा,
So our desires arise according to our knowledge,
अनुरूप फिर हम निर्णय लेते,
and according to knowledge, according to desire, we take decision, then we perform action, accordingly we get result. So we have to go to the source, the original source.
और गहराई में जा थोड़ा, यही मत रुक। पहले तो लोग विचार ही नहीं करते, वो धुन में चले जाते हैं, इससे नहीं हुआ अब ये कर लेते हैं।
So people just get stuck somewhere in the middle in this process. They think that if I rectify this, if I rectify that, I will get the right result. But actually what is required is, to begin with, we have to get the correct knowledge. Then everything will fall in place. So with knowledge, I am not talking about the knowledge imparted in schools and universities. I am talking about the knowledge about our desires, about ahankara, about karma. How do we, what influences us? What are the different types of desires? How do we get influenced? This knowledge we can get in our Shastras, and primarily in Bhagavad-Gita. In a very brief and systematic way, Gita explains all this. So for this we should study Gita. So we will be benefited by this, because we all want to become happy. For this we should study Gita. Our life is a battle, as I said earlier. There is nobody who was born but did not have to fight a battle. Whether you are born in a rich family or in a middle class family or a low income family, wherever you are born, you have to fight in your life. You have to struggle, and human being learns through struggle only. One who has not faced struggle in his life, he will always remain a fool. So we have to struggle with our body, struggle with our mind. At least everybody has to struggle with his mind. Even if one has all kinds of facilities and comforts everywhere, one has to struggle with his or her mind. So like in Gita says, our mind is the friend, mind is the enemy. So the mind doesn't let us sit peacefully. It keeps us giving all kinds of desires. So I usually say that
मन जब तक शांत नहीं होता जब तक ये अशांत नहीं होता. सुनने में वाक्य बड़ा अटपटा लगता है लेकिन ये है ठीक.
So I usually say that suppose you have a desire, and if I suppose fulfill all your desires immediately, then your mind will again give some new desire. You don't say that no, now my all desires are fulfilled, I don't want anything. Mind will again give a new desire, so that our peace is disturbed. So money is always generating disturbance, and in order to solve that disturbance, it gives solution. And then we think that this happened, that happened, but actually the problem is with the mind only. So we have to understand the mind, we have to understand the psychology. That is extremely important, because we are sitting in this body. So it is just like if we are driving a car and we don't have control of the steering, and the car is moving on its own, there is no driver. So this is very dangerous. So similarly, we have the mind just keeps going here and there. So like in village, we are sitting in the home, and the goat, the sheep or the cow, if they just wander anywhere, if you leave them, they won't come back in the evening to home. So the animal just keeps looking up, and it may wander here and there anywhere. The animal won't come back. So our mind is like the camel. The mind will keep walking. So in Sanskrit, the root char has two meanings. One meaning is eating. Like we say, the cow is eating. So char means to walk also. Like the feet in Sanskrit are called charan. That is to walk, to do vicharan or acharan. So man will always keep on walking. Even if we lie down on the street, even if we lie down on the bed at night, mind keeps on walking. Mind does not let us sleep peacefully. It is continuously moving around. So how to control that particular mind? This is what Gita teaches us. Modern science does not teach us that. That is why we have to learn Gita. The difficulties, the obstacles we face in our life, how to deal with them, how to win over them. So our life is a battle. And the battle is at various levels that we will discuss later. We have a battle at our physical level, at the mental level, at a social level, battle related to religion, related to politics, related to finance. We have battle with our boss, battle with family members or wife. So the war is at various levels. How to deal with that, how to win in this particular war, that is what we have to learn in Gita. So Gita begins with this. The Arjun who is sitting on the chariot, and the Bhagavan who is driving it. So that means our body is a chariot. The senses, the horses are the senses. Now if we make mind the driver, then we will be in trouble. If we became Bhagavan, if we make Bhagavan the driver, will become successful. So making Bhagavan the driver means to learn Gita. So Bhagavan already gave instruction to Arjun. Now if we learn that, and if we lead our life based on the wisdom of Gita, we will become successful like Arjun. That is why Gita is essential. That's why I said
कोई
Gita is not a dead book, it is a living book.
बुक है और इसको लेकर हम अपने जीवन में सफल
And we can become successful in our life with Gita.
ये गीता क्यों पढ़ें, इसके लिए मैंने ये बोला आंतरिक युद्ध है, भौतिक और मानसिक युद्ध.
So I already spoke of this, that we have a physical level and mental level war in our life. Then we have war in society, within family, then within religious institutions, and their war, between the war based on gender, and war between countries. So different levels war is going on. In our body, there are bacteria, and continuously there is bacteria getting killed. When there is fever, then what is happening? There is battle inside. So starting from body, go till the topmost level, everywhere there is war. Or how can we win in this battle? This is what Gita teaches us. Gita will talk at every level, even at bodily level. Gita will teach us what we should eat, how to eat, how to sleep, how to deal in society. If we have a fight, how to deal. But we have to understand that. Now the what all I am speaking, I have spoken till now, you will not see this spoken directly in Gita anywhere. So as I said, there are three kinds of bhashas in Shastra. So if we understand that system of Shastra, then we can get the knowledge. So in Shastra there is system, they give the whole knowledge in a sutra. Like Vedanta Sutra says, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, small sutra. Now you can study commentaries of Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya. On one small sutra, they have given such long commentaries. So similarly, when Bhagavan is speaking, he speaks in very brief, but because his knowledge is extremely deep. So if we deliberate on that, then we can learn something. So I request you to ask questions which are related to the current class. The questions which are unrelated, they will get discussed in the other sessions. So if you have any question related to today's class, kindly ask.
बाबाजी, हमारे जो कार्य है या कर्म है उसके मूल इच्छा अनुसार है कि ज्ञान अनुसार है?
बताया ना मैंने, ज्ञान के अनुसार इच्छा होती है.
So
ज्ञान ही नहीं होगा तो इच्छा कैसे हो जाएगी? जैसे
अगर how is our action based? So as I said, as I explained, action is based on desire, and desire is based on knowledge. Like if you want to come to Vrindavan, so my question is, like our karma is coming from Anadi and we have acted according to our desires. So what we are doing is according to our vasanas or according to our knowledge. So the answer is that we have lot of latent impressions in our heart, but they are also according to some knowledge only. We don't have one or two impressions, we have crores of millions of impressions.
ज्ञान के अनुसार होती है. और किसी का कोई प्रश्न?
सुविधि जैन.
Can read it?
Yes sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes sir, मैं छात्र हूँ एक और.
So my question is that I am a student. How can a student relate with Gita? Like I am a student in Delhi. I am preparing for IAS and I have to daily study for 10 to 12 hours. But I have a lot of dissatisfaction in my heart. I have come here leaving my home. I have to spend so much money for my study. No, but after having left home, my mind is, I feel very miserable and dissatisfied. So what can I get from Gita?
हाँ तो गीता जैसे मैंने
So
कहा ना,
answer,
ये विषय
just
आपके
like I
आएगा,
said
भगवान
about
ही
Gita, that
बताएंगे
later
इसको।
this topic will come up in Gita and
जो
Bhagavan
बात
will
मैं अभी कर रहा
explain
था,
this.
हमारे मन के
I
जो
was
ये गुण
discussing
है,
about the mind only.
चंचलं
This is a
मनोबलं
property of
कृष्ण
the mind.
प्रमादावत दृढ़म्, तस्याहं निग्रहं मन्ये वायोरिव सुदुष्करः। अर्जुन ने ये प्रश्न
So
पूछा
Arjun
कि
had
मन
asked
बहुत
this
चंचल
question
है,
to
ये
Bhagavan
बात आप
that
बताइए।
mind is very
तो
flickering.
फिर वो बताते
So then
हैं,
Bhagavan
कहते
will
हैं
explain.
अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय
Bhagavan
वैराग्येण च गृह्यते।
will
उसके लिए अभ्यास करना
explain that
पड़ेगा,
you have to
क्योंकि
practice
अभ्यास करने से
controlling
जैसे
the
कोई
mind.
घोड़ा होता है ना,
Like
उसको
we have
ऐसे ही
horse.
खुला छोड़
If you
दो,
just
ट्रेन
leave
करते
the
रहेंगे,
horse
बैठ
untrained,
जाए।
or if you leave a
हम
bull
बैलों से खेती
untrained,
करते थे पहले,
like when we used
तो
to
उसको
do
ट्रेन करना पड़ता है।
agriculture, the bull has to be trained.
बैल वाली बात तो पुरानी हो गई, तो कुत्ते को भी ट्रेन
Nowadays,
करना
even the
पड़ता है।
dogs have to be trained.
जी
अगर वो बड़ा कुत्ता हो जाएगा और
So
ट्रेन
if
नहीं करेगा
the
तो कहते हैं
dog
that
grows up and
old
is
dog
not
cannot learn new tricks।
it is not trained,
जी
तो फिर वो सीखेगा
so
नहीं, तो इसी
without
प्रकार
that the
हमारा
dog
मन है,
won't
हमें
learn.
इसको
So
ट्रेन करना
similarly,
है।
our mind,
तो ये
if
अपनी
we do
वासनाओं से
not
भागता
train
रहता है,
it,
तो उसको
it
ट्रेन
will keep
करना
running
पड़ेगा।
away
तो उसको ट्रेन करने
according
का
to its
तरीका जो
impressions
है
in
मंत्र
the
जप है,
inside.
मेडिटेशन
So
है,
for that we
उसका
have
आप अभ्यास
mantra
करो। रोज
meditation, we have
बैठ
japa.
के थोड़ा जप करो।
So daily we sit and do some
लेकिन
japa.
कोई ऐसा पर्टिकुलर मंत्र आप बता सकते हैं जो केवल अपने लक्ष्य प्राप्ति के लिए हम प्रयोग में ला सकते हैं?
हाँ, लक्ष्य प्राप्ति के लिए
So
ही होता
for
है मंत्र, जैसे भगवान का
attaining,
नाम है,
so
आप
for
वो ले सकते हैं,
so
जैसे
the
हरे
question
कृष्ण
was that
महामंत्र,
can you
इसको
recommend
बोलिए,
any
इसको ऐसे
mantra
बैठ के जप
that I
करो,
can chant for achieving my
क्योंकि मन
goal?
से ही तो आपको
So the answer is
प्राप्ति
that
होगी,
yeah, there
बाकी
is
जो उपाय
mantra
नहीं है
for
उसमें
doing
आपको
japa.
कोई
So
योगा
you
होता
must
है,
be knowing
आप
about
उसको
Hare
भगवान
Krishna
का नाम लेके
Mahamantra, so you
योगा
can
करते
chant
हैं,
that.
तो मन को ही तो
So
सुधारना है।
ultimately we have to purify the mind
इसीलिए तो
only.
गीता में ये सब
So
उपदेश
for
है।
that there is
अर्जुन का
instruction in
मन विचलित
Gita.
हो गया था, उसी को तो उन्होंने
So
स्थिर
Arjun,
किया।
his mind was disturbed, and for that only
इसलिए
he
आप
asked
अपने मन
Bhagavan.
को नियंत्रण में लाने के लिए जप एक
So
बहुत
in
अच्छा
order to
सुगम
control
उपाय
your
है, इसमें
mind,
ना आपको कहीं
one of
भागना
the
पड़ेगा,
best
ना कुछ
methods is to
खरीदना,
do
ना
japa,
कोई आपको जिम जाना, ना आपको कुछ खरीदना, बैठ के
chanting
अपने बैठ के
mantra.
जप करो,
So
भगवान
you
का
don't
नाम
have to
लो।
go to gym or anywhere else. Just sit peacefully and chant the recite the mantra.
attendee पूछते हैं हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी मतलब नरकों के
So
बारे में
another
जो
question in
लिखा
chat,
है
when you spoke
ऐसा कुछ
about the
सच
hell,
में होता
does it
है?
mean that the
नहीं, ये
description of hell is
गलत नहीं
wrong?
है।
Does it mean that it does not
जो मैंने
exist?
कहा कि
So
इस प्रकार
answer,
के
it
वाक्य
is not that
लिखेंगे
it is
तो वो
wrong.
गलत नहीं
When I
है,
said that we have such statements in
लेकिन वो वाक्य
Shastra,
क्यों
it does
हैं
not
आपको
mean in
पूछना
that
है।
mean that it is wrong. It is not
उनका
wrong.
मूल
What
उद्देश्य
I
क्या
was
है,
explaining is
तात्पर्य
that
क्या
what
है,
is the
आपको वही
purpose of
बताने के लिए, और
giving those
जो गलत
statements?
काम है उससे
The
रोकने के
purpose
लिए।
is to stop
नरक भी
you
है,
from
स्वर्ग भी है,
performing the
लेकिन
wrong action. So
पहली बात
both
ये
hell and
है
heaven
कि वो
exist in
बिल्कुल
reality,
एग्जैक्टली ऐसा नहीं है
but
जैसा
the first
विवरण
point is
दिया
that
जाता
it
है,
is not exactly how it is
इसलिए
described.
मैंने ऐसा कहा था।
That's why I said like
लेकिन
that.
ऐसा भी नहीं है कि वो
But
है
it is
नहीं।
also not that it does not exist
नरक और
only.
स्वर्ग क्या है?
Hell and
नरक
heaven,
मतलब होता है दुख
what
पाना,
is actually hell? Hell
स्वर्ग
means to
मतलब होता
suffer.
है सुख पाना।
And
तो
what
ये
is
नहीं होगा
Swarga?
इस जीवन में भी,
Swarga means to have happiness. Heaven is to have happiness.
तो
So
जरूरी
both
नहीं है कि
exist
कहीं और
here
जाना
only.
पड़ेगा दुख
It is
पाने के
not
लिए। नरक
necessary
ये
that you
क्या
have to go
मतलब है
anywhere
कि
else.
नरक का जीवन
So
जी
like
रहे हैं,
sometimes
उसको
we
चल
say
रहा है,
that his
उसके लिए
life has
यही
become
स्वर्ग
a
है।
hell. So then for him hell is here only.
वास्तव उद्देश्य ये
So
है,
that is actually
तो
the
हमें शास्त्र का
objective.
तात्पर्य
So we have
समझना
to
है।
understand the
मूल बात ये है
purport of the
जो मैं
Shastra.
बोल रहा हूँ।
What does Shastra want to convey to us?
महेश जी
बोलिए।
कृपया अनम्यूट करें।
महेश जी अनम्यूट करिए अपने आप को।
दीपक जी पूछते हैं बाबा जी last week you said the way to control the mind is to fix the mind on Krishna. What is the best and easiest way to fix the mind on Sri Krishna?
So the question is how to fix mind on
बहुत आवश्यक
Sri
है
Krishna.
माइंड को
So the
फिक्स करने
answer
के लिए
is do
भगवान के
japa,
नाम का जप।
chanting
भगवान कहते हैं
mantra.
यज्ञ नाम जप
In Gita, Bhagavan
यज्ञोस्मि।
says
अनेक
Yajnanam Japa
प्रकार के यज्ञ
Yajñosmi. There are
उपलब्ध
many
हैं,
types of
सबसे
yajnas.
आसान
The
यज्ञ है जप
easiest
यज्ञ।
way,
इसमें
easiest
ना
yajna is
आपको
Japa
अर्घ्य
Yajna.
डालना
You
पड़ेगा,
don't have to
ना
light
धूप
a
जलाना
fire or
पड़ेगा,
need any
ना
other
पंडित
ingredients
बुलाना,
or to bring any
ना ये कि
priest
उच्चारण ठीक है नहीं ठीक है।
or whether
जप
chanting
करने
is
से मन
perfect or no.
शांत
So
होता है, लेकिन उसको
perform
उपाय ऐसे
chanting.
करना पड़ेगा।
But then you have to
मेहनत
chant
आपको ही करनी पड़ेगी, जैसे मैंने
with
पिछले
your
प्रवचन में भी कहा था,
with involving your
वो
mind.
आपको खाना पड़ेगा। आप चाहे जितने में अमीर आदमी हो, खाना पीना सोना ये आपको ही करना पड़ेगा, उसको आप आउटसोर्स नहीं कर सकते।
So just like the primary activities of eating and all, you can't then get it done with others. You only have to do it.
तो उसी प्रकार मन को नियंत्रण करने के लिए जब भी आपको
So similarly, to perform japa, you only have to do it. Like when people ask that please give us blessings, so there is no other blessings. Blessings is just hear the instruction and apply it in your life. If you do not follow the instruction, there is no blessing or any mercy.
ऐसे कहानियां हैं कि उसने उनके ऊपर हाथ रख दिया,
So
ये
these are
उसके बाद भी उनको
stories that this happened or that happened when he gave blessing.
ऐसा नहीं है,
So these things do happen, but the real thing you have to do it yourself.
भगवान रथ पे
Because then why Bhagwan is sitting on the chariot and giving instruction to Arjun
स्मरण करके
that remember me and fight the war.
उन्होंने अर्जुन के सिर पे हाथ रख
He
दिया,
could have kept his hand on Arjun's head and
लेकिन नहीं किया।
given him some blessing, but he did not do that. What does he want to teach?
एक आलस्य
So this is a laziness that we have, that I don't have to do anything.
हमको भगवान ने हाथ
But Bhagavan has given us hands.
और किसी के नहीं है, केवल मनुष्य दो पैर पे चलता है, हाथ
So man actually walks on 2 feet.
पैरों से चलता है। तो हाथ का मतलब पुरुष।
So having hands means to perform action, to do purushartha.
Mahesh ji?
Okay. Anyone else? ठीक है।
Okay, thank you very much.
श्लोक, हाँ हमारे अंत में जो
Yeah.
श्लोक है
So now we will
वो आवश्यक
recite the prayer verses at the
आ गया प्रार्थना श्लोक। सो एक साथ हम इनको करेंगे। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर भोक्ता दुग्धम गीतामृतम महत् एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहत स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वां धर्म सम्मूढचेतः यच्छ्रेयः स्यात् निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःख समनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्